So, like you said, COVID-19 and technology has made a lot of impacts on how real estate is functioning. So obviously, as you can see, COVID has made e-commerce and delivery business grow very fast. However, it has also caused substantial impacts to the retail sector, specifically leaving a lot of shopping mall and retail space vacant. So, Swee Yong, in your opinion, what will be the future of retail industry and retail space?
I think a pure shopping center retail space where you buy, you go there to buy clothes, you go there to buy shoes, those type of retail space will definitely have to consolidate and shrink. There, because today it is quite easy to buy things online and then get it delivered to you. In the supermarkets, you will have heavy things, for example, buying 5 kilograms of rice, or maybe you want to buy a carton of soft drinks or detergent that is heavy to carry. Let's just go onto the mobile phone, put in the orders, and then tomorrow it arrives at home. So for supermarkets, for example, you will probably go there only for your fresh vegetables, fresh meat, or something that you need urgently, which means that for the supermarket operator, he can reduce his rental by renting a smaller space from the landlord. Or he would have to change the way the supermarket is laid out. Overall, retail space should be only catering mainly to retail services, such as if you need a hairdressing salon quickly because tonight you're attending your cousin's wedding dinner, go do your hair. Maybe you are going to the neighboring shop house. You might be going to Aeon Mall and looking for somebody to provide that services. People who are maybe providing services in terms of nail spa, restaurant, which is food services. Those types of services would still remain in a retail mall. But then you see that the retail mall themselves need to change, because 3 years ago, you do not have so many people on the app buying food, and then somebody from the delivery company goes to, in Singapore's case, it is Grab Food or Deliveroo or Food Panda, where they are going into the shopping mall after they park the motorbike, and then they are collecting the food, and then they run out to the motorbike again, they drive off, and they deliver the food. Today's shopping malls need to be redesigned for the increased volume of the food pickup and delivery service. So right now, our malls are mainly efficient in design for large delivery. For example, the supermarket needs to be restocked almost every day. Every day there will be new deliveries of vegetables, eggs, fish, meat. So there is efficient design in terms of waste management for the shopping mall. But nobody has designed a shopping mall that is convenient for food delivery yet. So I think we will have to move that way very quickly. And this is another small example of how technology is impacting real estate and forcing us to have to renovate our existing real estate.
Right. So seems like that current shopping mall and retail store probably need to think about where they can design the space for the pickup guys, right? Because now, as I can see, even there are some very popular shop nearby my house. You can see a lot of motorbikes parking on the street, not very order and causing a lot of traffic. So I think future shopping mall or current shopping mall should probably think about how to redesign a pickup space.
Other than the traffic jam, which may be just slowing down your delivery and slowing down some other people who needs to drive past, right? There is also the safety of the food delivery workers. And in case of bad weather, their
Right.
motorbikes sometimes are parked in the open areas, and then it affects your food as well. They may be carrying your food, and then they are getting into the rain, right?
Right.
So the shopping mall need to renovate themselves to reallocate the space. The shopping malls themselves, if they are building a new wing, they can build a new wing where they design better pickup services for all the restaurant tenants.
Right. Right. Okay. So, but now that we are still in uncertain situation, but if let's say COVID is gone, people now are used to ordering food online or using delivery service. Do you think people still continue to use the apps instead of going to the physical store?
Of course, once the lockdown is over, some people will start to return back to the stores. But in the case of Singapore, even though we are not having a tight lockdown, but in the stalls now we have got reduced seating because we want everybody to sit further apart. So some of the more popular coffee shops and restaurants, in fact, they are full house for seating.
Right.
And so if you want to order food from a more popular shop, you probably wouldn't mind using your app to order the food, because by the time you walk down to the shop, maybe you see that there's a short queue outside. So you've got to wait to get in to sit down.
Right.
So,
Right.
And then once everybody becomes a habit to order the food, we will have more people going online to order. If you are pleased with the quality of the food when it arrives at your home, you would start to order, yes. But when the lockdown is over, yes, you will reduce some of the online ordering, for sure.
Right. Right. Okay. So that's could be the future of retail space. People might still be ordering food online, but there are some certain daily necessity that we still need to go for shopping. Maybe sometime if you want to have a family gathering, you probably still want to go out shopping, watching movie. Of course, you can watch Netflix or what at home, but for entertainment purpose, probably you still need to go out to the mall, right?
Of course, if you have got entertainment, if you have got a lot more services in the mall, you want to have a gathering of your secondary school mates, you have got not enough space at home, or you would still gather at a mall, and then maybe after that followed by a meal in the restaurant inside the mall.
Okay, I think that's could be the future. So let's move on to the commercial sector in real estate. So as we all have experienced, COVID has caused us not to come to the office, meaning we have to work from home for some sort. And now that in Phnom Penh specifically, we just lifted the lockdown a few days ago. So everybody start coming back to the office. But there's still some uncertainty about the future of office space. So in your opinion, how will COVID-19 change the demand for office space?
In Singapore, where we have got a CBD, and then we have got a few locations where we have got high density office buildings. So other than CBD, we have got the Paya Lebar, we have got the fringe of CBD, we have got Woodlands and Jurong, where we have developed large office clusters. The big companies have in the last year, because of allowing the workers to work from home, many of the big companies have already announced that they will have maybe 20% up to 50% of people permanently working from home. Having 20 or 50% doesn't mean that if they have 1,000 workers, that 200 workers are working from home and 800 workers work in the office. It is a mix and match. Some workers may be working 3 days a week. Some workers may be only working half day in the office. Some workers maybe they come in 1 week and they stay at home the next week while they are working. So it is a sort of a mix and match depending on the job function. Mm-hmm. And these are mainly the bigger office users, especially the banks. The banks take up significant amount of between 30 to 40% of the top grade A office buildings in Singapore. So if the large space users such as the banks are starting to reduce their footprint, reduce the demand on office space, in fact, then we might see a little bit more vacancies in high quality office space. And the banks want to do this for two reasons. First reason, of course, is to save a little bit of money on the profit and loss. If they can reduce the space from, let's say, if they have 1,000 workers, usually they take 100,000 square feet of space. If they can reduce by 20,000 square feet of space, they reduce a lot of the rentals that they pay. So that's one reason, saving money for the company. Second reason is when COVID initially hit Singapore, and then some banks in Singapore had a few office workers who got the virus, they had to quickly shut down the entire floor of the office space for the cleaning, and then they had to shut the floor for maybe 2 to 3 days to make sure that they disinfected them. And so there was a stoppage of the business. Mm-hmm. And because the business is disrupted due to 1 or 2 colleagues getting the virus, it is actually a very inconvenient situation. They lose revenue, or maybe they have to incur a lot of extra costs. So over the last year now, we have already had enough practice learning from how to adapt to this situation. And therefore now the banks see that by reducing office space and by allowing different individuals to work from home on different days, in fact, that flexibility now makes the bank, they allow the bank to continue operating without having 100% of people back in the office. Right. And that is a strategic decision because it keeps the bank a lot more resilient to business disruption. And therefore, so if we apply this example to law firms, to professional services firms, architectural firms, accounting firms, you see that actually overall, the reduction of space can be a lot. And so in my book, I just estimated that in Singapore, if only net 10% of office space is given up by the existing users, by giving up 10% of office space, that is equal to 7 million square feet of office space. And that 7 million square feet of office space may be equal to 20 Phnom Penh towers of office space.
Wow. 20 Phnom Penh towers office space. That is reduced, right, due to COVID-19?
Due to large companies allowing parts of their staff to work from home.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay, that is interesting. So in Cambodia, from what I can see, instead of cutting down the space, they are rather looking to downgrade their office. Maybe instead of renting $20 per square meter space, they're looking for something between $15 or $16 per square meter. So that basically says that demand is still there, but probably they're looking for something at a reduced cost.
Okay, two directions. Some are looking at reduced costs, and so they may reduce the space to reduce costs, or they may be taking the opportunity to bargain with the landlord because now the demand is still not so strong because of the virus that is still going around. But there are also companies that instead of the whole company taking 1,000 square meter of space, maybe they now decide that for the business to be more resilient to any more disruption, that they may take a smaller space elsewhere. So maybe your headquarters, you can reduce to 80 square meter, 800 square meters. From 1,000, you reduce to 800 square meters. But then you take another smaller office so that you split the team up so that in case the virus comes back and it is in one of your office, some of the workers can still do work from the other office.
Okay. So that's more like setting up a satellite office to sort of
Backup.
protect the risk. Yeah.
Yes, it is sort of like a backup, a safety, a second layer of redundancy.
I
So,
see.
especially if your office has got, for example, you are IT services company and you need to maintain systems to be up 24 hours. You cannot afford that to have your own office having a shutdown because somebody has got the virus.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. So, this is from the perspective of a consumer, but from a perspective of a landlord or a developer, what do you think are the safety procedures that should be in place to attract the tenants during this COVID pandemic?
I think for the landlord as well as for us property agents, we should quickly engage with our tenants and our clients to ask them what do they think about their business operation needs. Your business operation needs, if it includes a backup office, can the landlord offer a smaller space in a secondary location as the backup so that the landlord can still offer the same tenant now two different locations? Secondly, many landlords now have to upgrade some of their old systems because all of us are doing so much more online meetings. So you need to upgrade your bandwidth, upgrade your internet trunking. Then some of the landlords in the same building, instead of leasing out all the floors on long-term lease, maybe the landlord takes 20% of the floors and the landlord themselves, they create a co-working space. So the landlords create a co-working space so that some of the tenants who want the flexibility, they rent one floor, but they also rent a small part of the co-working space where it is shared with everybody else. So these are some of the things that have started to happen in the last, I think ever since last year, July, when Singapore started to relax on the movement restrictions, some of the landlords announced that they are converting some of the spaces to become flexible working spaces. So we are able to then offer the tenants flexibility to help them with managing their business operations.
Okay. So basically, we need to understand our tenants' requirement, how they are going to operate their business. Right?
Yes. So maybe in future, it wouldn't be so much like I am the landlord and you are the tenant, so you are inside my building. It could be more like a partnership model where the landlord really needs to understand the business operations of their tenants well.
So they can adjust the space according to the operations of the tenant.
Correct.
All right. I think that's some part of the commercial sector that we want to touch on. Let's move on to residential sector. So COVID-19 has upset the real estate fundamentals by changing how we lead our life, how we interact socially. So that will impact how we live as well. Then, from your opinion, Swee Yong, what changes do we expect to see in the demands of residential properties?
On the residential property side, I think the most obvious one would be if you are staying in a house, you need to quickly get your bandwidth to increase, so you may need to pull an extra line. If you are staying in cluster gated community, then maybe together with all your neighbors, you have got to pay to upgrade the connectivity. In a condominium, of course, you have to get together with the management committee to upgrade the bandwidth. But when in the middle of our lockdown last year, I was at home, my wife, and then my two children were at home, and my children were in senior high school and in university, and four of us were at home at the same time. My children were attending lectures, different lecture, different school, and then my wife and I also were working, and I'm on my webinar and she is trying to do her office work from home, right? So in fact, luckily we have three people in the bedroom working from the bedroom, and then one person working from the living room. But if we had a smaller unit, or if we had more family members, then in fact this arrangement would not be convenient, especially because my children, on some days they have to be online doing the examination or the test or assessment from school, and those are important. Or maybe you have got an online presentation for a very big deal that you are making a pitch to an important customer. So homes and the number of bedrooms in the home, and maybe within the home, do you want to design a smaller room that has got sort of like a business center, an office type of room in your home that is also soundproof? So for the developers of residential properties, this may be some of the things that they can consider. Then if you are living in a landed property, the delivery problem is not so big. But if you are living in a condominium, the same problem that is happening in the retail malls, where the food delivery guys or the guy who is from the supermarket sending your detergent and sending your 24 cans of Coca-Cola to you. The pickup point and the drop-off when they come to your condominium, these are designs that are not available in our condominiums today. So where would the food delivery guy deliver to? And so when we start to design new condominiums, all this thinking has to be put in place so that the condominium can accept our new trend of our new lifestyle.
Okay, so basically we need a stronger internet bandwidth, as well as a place where we can pick up our food more conveniently in the place that we stay, right?
Yeah, and probably for new designs, design in an extra bedroom that can be used as an office space, and the soundproofing of the rooms should be improved so that if your family has got 4 or 5 members, you can have them going to school online as well as working from home online at the same time.
Right. So I believe these will be some of the features that buyers should be looking for when they are looking for their next home or for any residential properties. So,
correct. So, for example, this picture that you see on the screen right now, if he is attending a webinar on his Mac, and then he has to play even if he's on his headphone, but then somebody else in the home who is maybe watching Netflix or who is eating lunch or cooking might disturb him with the sound, right?
Right.
Yeah, so this open concept, which was very popular in the last 20 years, maybe now the open concept is not so convenient anymore.
So people would rather want allocated room, dedicated room for their own private office, mostly for call or for presentation, right?
Yes, so it depends on what sort of work. So for me now, during the day I do work, but I'm also attending class, and some days I'm also teaching class. And so when I'm the teacher, of course, I cannot have a noisy background as well.
I see. Okay. So yeah, again, that these are some of the features that buyers should look for in their home post COVID-19. So I think aside from uh, having that features designed into the residential properties, what else do you think are the factors that will affect the buyer's behavior when they choose residential property?
Okay, so when you put this trend together, firstly, there is a little bit more of work from home. There's a little bit more of study from home. In fact, you do not really need to live in BKK1, even if your job is in BKK1, right?
Right.
Yeah, because maybe your office has flexible working and you only need to come into office 3 times a week for your division level meeting. And the rest of the time, maybe you can be in TK in a coffee shop working from there. So meaning that people may be starting to look for slightly bigger size houses or slightly bigger size apartments in relatively lower cost locations.
I see.
And then the high-end luxury remains maybe more for investment property, maybe for expatriates who are coming into Phnom Penh and they are not so familiar with the city. And so they are in a more luxurious condominium apartment in the most prime BKK1 district.
So from what you are saying, it seems like we need bigger space because now since we need to work from home, we just done before maybe you can just rent a studio or a small one bedroom, but probably now because there's a demand for working from home, I guess we probably need more bigger space to accommodate that needs, right?
Yes.
So and like you said, people will probably don't mind traveling a little bit further out of the city because they don't have to come to the office every day like before.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
Okay. So
maybe
these are some of.
Maybe you can move nearer to your children's school and some of the international school like Phnom Penh International School near the village, right? So instead of staying in the middle of the city where it's expensive, you can get a bigger place near to the international school so that your children is more convenient. In the past, you are the one traveling a lot, but you are staying in the middle of the city, but your children have to travel to the international school. Now you stay near the international school with a bigger piece of real estate.
Right.
And then you're traveling in, your children travel much less, and then you are only traveling into town maybe 2 to 3 times a week.
Okay. I think that could be the trend. Probably people will prefer to travel further out to get a bigger space and in an open air location, open air type of property, right? Okay, I think if our audience has got any questions, you can keep that for now. We will have a question and answer session later on. So let me just move on a little bit more to industrial sector. So since you're aware that e-commerce delivery are a business that are striving, and I believe they will require demand for storage space as well. So that will mean demand for warehouse should increase, as well as data center. That will turn attention to some of the developer to look at, investing in probably industrial property or warehouse. Swee Yong, in your opinion, how do you foresee the future of industrial property?
The manufacturing side of industrial property, for Cambodia, you are still very strong with garments, shoes, plastics products, for example. That the manufacturing side, the demand should continue to remain steady, and because manufacturing, the workers would still have to go in, unless the factory owner starts to invest in robotics. And robots, they do not fall sick from the pandemic, so some of the factory owners might start to invest in higher technology. But for warehousing, data centers, those are clearly winners in the COVID times, because technology has improved a lot. For example, now people are uploading and downloading on Instagram, on TikTok, on Facebook, a lot of short videos or pictures, photographs, whatever they see on the street, they take a photograph or they take a short video and then they upload it. And that's why the demand for data center usage goes up a lot. And of course, electricity and carbon. In the case of warehouses, the improvements in technology in terms of logistics, in terms of scheduling the flow of the products going in and out of a warehouse and a logistics and distribution center, the software, as well as the ability to get the delivery guys, the guys driving the truck or on the motorcycle, that software is now integrated into their hands as well. So it is now no more large logistics companies like DHL or UPS that has the capability of running sophisticated logistics businesses. It is smaller size companies can also get in and provide more local type of logistics and distribution services to local manufacturers. And one of the example could be a food factory having a lot of food delivery guys coming in to take away food for delivering. So meaning you can start the F&B business now by getting an industrial space and then tying in with the logistics companies to do your food distribution. You don't need to have a restaurant space. So you can have an industrial size type of kitchen. Next to your industrial kitchen, somebody is stocking up the food ingredients, the flavoring, the sauces. Next to you, another guy who is doing the waste management. And so logistics, factories, industrial, because of the COVID, also has been forced to change. But in the next few years, because it is quite fast for anybody who wants to construct the warehouse space, the photograph that you are seeing on the right-hand side, this type of low technology warehouse space is very fast to construct. Within 12 months, if the owner has the land, within 12 months, he can already build a simple logistics center like that. But we should, if we are advising our clients, we should in fact encourage them not to just build a simple storage warehouse. They should include software, they should include technology, they should include the latest systems in terms of, for example, fire prevention, safety management. They can include tracking of and sensors to track all the goods that come in and track the goods that move out. So it becomes a stock management system. And that's where you can upgrade the warehouse to be much higher value, because the goods that are going in and the goods that are going out are all tracked properly.
Okay, so that is interesting concept. which I heard people in food delivery business, they are also planning to use some of the warehouse space to probably convert it into what we call a cloud kitchen, where you can just cook from there and you deliver it to anywhere.
Correct. So, for example, the food catering companies, the guys who are doing very large scale production of food, for example, in the past they may be supplying to the hotels, or they may be supplying food that is for the factory, and the factory has 3,000 workers. You cook it from the cloud kitchen, and you are supplying 3,000 lunches. You supply 3,000 tea breaks every day.
Okay, so that's interesting for industrial. So I think we cover all the four sectors in real estate already: residential, commercial, retail, and industrial.